I'll invite you to just join me in a collective breath. Let's inhale together. Beautiful. Just like last week, we're going to be, instead of a reading, doing a guided visualization. This is a moment to just tap into our imaginations, tap into our bodies, tap into intuitive wisdom that comes from a place beyond the intellect. So I'll invite you to get more comfortable if you aren't already. For me, that's going to look like sitting on the floor because that's who I am. And I'll invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze because you feel comfortable. And just start to notice where your body is meeting the rest of the world, and maybe where your feet are contacting the earth. Feel where your skin is meeting the air. Start to feel the boundaries of this thing we call the self. And I'll invite your attention towards the breath. Noticing the feeling of it coming in and out of your nose or mouth. Noticing that gentle rise and fall of your chest. And I'll invite you to turn a little bit deeper inward into that dark place within, that vast imaginative expanse that comes from within but goes out into worlds beyond that can take us anywhere. And I'll invite you within your mind's eye and your imagination to find yourself traveling down a path. Invite you to notice how this feels for you. Maybe you notice your arms swaying from your sides. Maybe you notice your feet contacting the earth. Maybe you have a walking stick or some other aid to help you along the path. And I'll invite you to notice what else might be here within your imagination. Is the path paved or unpaved? Are there plants or structures or things within your vision around you? And as you start to notice this place, I'll invite your attention toward the horizon in front of you, the direction where you're headed. Very, very far in the distance. You can see the outline of a house. And it's where you're headed. It's where you've been headed for quite some time. There's good things there. There's people there. It's a place that you're eager to be, a life that you're excited to be a part of. But you've still got a ways to go. It's still quite a ways in the distance. And so you keep traveling. And I'll invite your attention towards your body again, and you'll notice that you're carrying quite a lot. You're carrying a very large pack. And you can feel it carving into your shoulders. You can feel it pressing your weight more into the earth. You've been doing this for a while, so you can even feel how your body is curled to conform to this pack, how heavy it's been. And it's becoming clearer and clearer that you're not going to be able to keep walking with this thing just as it is. And you packed it with good reason. All those things you're hoping to carry into that future life. But for now, you need a break. So I'll invite you to stop your travels. Lift the pack off of your shoulders and onto the ground. You might notice just how much your body springs up at that feeling of no longer having to carry that thing just for a moment. And I'll invite you to open up the top of the pack and begin to peer into what's in here, and as you look into the pack, it's large and it's dark, and it's that same vast imaginative expanse where we started from as you peer in this darkness. And as you reach into the darkness, reach into your imagination, something might start to take shape. Something that has been weighing you down, something that you no longer need to be carrying. What is that thing for you? As it starts to take shape for you, I'll invite you to reach out towards it, grasp it. Start to lift it up and out of this pack. Maybe inspect it a little, this thing you've been carrying. Maybe thank it for the purpose that it had, the reason why you brought it here, but knowing that you don't have to carry it anymore. So I'll invite you, as you feel ready, to place that thing on the ground. Say thanks to it if it's hard to let go. Zip up the pack one last time and slip it up and around your shoulders, and you might notice just how much easier it is, how for so long your body became so used to that feeling of carrying it, and now what you're carrying feels like hardly anything at all. And I'll invite you to keep traveling. That thing you left behind, getting smaller and smaller in the distance. And I'll invite you to turn back towards that darkness one more time. Maybe give thanks for what your imagination brought forward today and in this moment. I'll invite you to slowly return to this place that we're in now. Maybe you can wiggle your toes, move your body around a little bit, open your eyes. Maybe you'll start to notice this room we're in, this thing we call reality. And as we get out of that expanse and back into our conscious minds, I want to invite you to just go slow and do what our body needs to do to get back into it. We'll be doing some song, and you are more than welcome to sing with us, but do whatever it is that feels good for you in this moment. No? Oh, okay, here we are. I can whisper less too. I'm coming out of whisper mode into like preaching mode, sorry. Yeah, thanks for getting into that intuitive wisdom with y'all. So, in case you hadn't heard, in this moment, we're on the heels of what is like a huge cosmic alignment. Because on February 18th, in the wake of the new moon, Lent and Ramadan are going to start on the exact same day, which is honestly nuts. That's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. They overlap, but they rarely start on the same day. And so that means that literally the majority of humans in the world are going to begin this collective process of fasting and reduction, purification, cleansing. And it's not even just them. There's other people getting in on the party. Like we just passed through Imbolc, which you might know is celebrated the worldwide by witches doing a feast of purification. And then as we get into March, people will still be in Lent and Ramadan, and the members of the Baha'i faith start their 19-day fast. And I would even argue, as we make it towards the end of March and we start Passover, it's that same action where Jews the world over are doing a form of fasting for a week. It's like this whole party that everybody's getting into. It's time to reduce. It's time to fast. I want to get in on it. But us UUs, we're just kind of like, it's February. Congregational meeting, maybe? And like, I think it's our loss, truly, I think it's our loss. I think that there is something here that is so much bigger than any tradition or any time and place. I really think it speaks deeply to what it means to be human. And so I want to talk about it. I want to get in on the party because y'all, there is something in the air. And I really mean that. I mean it. I think it's in the air. I think it's in the earth. I think it's in our bodies. I think it's in the seasons. And that word Lent, it refers to the seasons. It comes from the Old English word lectin, which means spring. And it sounds like lengthen because that's what it refers to. It refers to the lengthening of the days. And Lent comes from this time and place where most people were a lot closer to the seasons, a lot closer to the earth, a lot closer to the agricultural year. Maybe you can imagine it. You're a medieval peasant. You just came, maybe you're a little hungover because you just came off of the biggest party of the year, 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of feasting, merriment, drinking. Now it's February and it's still pretty cold out. Not much is growing out of the ground. You go down into your cellar and your stack of wheat and your pile of apples and your root vegetables. It's getting lower and lower. And that's what that was. That's what that time was for this people. And that's where Lent comes from. It was a time when reduction was necessary for survival. It was a time when the earth was asking us to do that. And that's pretty different from the way that we live our lives now. Now we can go to the grocery store, we can get basically any food we want, even stuff that isn't in season. Anything that makes our lives entertaining or convenient is just a click away with 2 days shipping. We live in this time of excess that's quite literally destroying the world. And frankly, I think there's a wisdom to Lent here that serves our modern lives. I think of those medieval Christians again, how they were in the hungriest time of the year, yet chickens would still lay eggs, and the cows still had to be milked every single day, and then they had to forego drinking that milk. They gave up something at the time of year when it was hardest to sacrifice, and I know that might sound terrifying, but in another way, I think it can be empowering. I think it can be empowering because you persevered. It can be empowering because you can show yourself how much you are capable of with just so little. And it's that kind of empowerment that I really think has revolutionary potential for us today. Our culture is constantly trapping us in this cycle of entitlement and scarcity, telling us that the only way to get our needs met is to consume more, to buy more. Lent invites us out of that cycle, invites us to get in touch with the rhythms of the earth, tells us that maybe we can survive without that thing that we maybe previously thought was essential to our lives. Maybe not even just survive, but maybe even thrive. Maybe even be better for it. Lent asks us to thumb our noses at these notions of false scarcity and to transform our relationship with enough. Lent asks us to become more formidable opponents to consumerism and capitalism. So I'm going to invite you to join me in considering this. What have you got to lose? To become less attached to this scarcity mindset, to become closer to the rhythms of the earth, to transform your understanding of enough. But of course, it's not just about fasting. Purification is this theme that keeps coming up around this time of year across traditions. And I know if you're like me, you might have a kind of complicated relationship with that word. Purity, that thing that's so often used against us, made to keep us out of touch with our bodies, made us to think that we're wrong or we need to be fixed, made us to keep small and full of shame. So if that's how you're feeling, I want to offer a totally different religious holiday. On February 15th every year, the ancient Romans would celebrate what's called Lupercalia. Maybe you've heard of it. Probably got some nerdy pagans in the room. And it was this huge rite of purification. Folks would gather in a cave, and they would sacrifice a dog and a goat. And then they'd take the bloody knives fresh from that sacrifice, and they'd spread the blood across their foreheads. And then they'd take the bloody knives, and they'd cut strips of skin off of the freshly sacrificed goat, and they'd take this bloody goat skin and they'd run out into the town, fully nude or partially nude, carrying this goat skins behind them and whipping any passerby that they see. Now that's what I call purity, am I right? Yeah, now we're talking. But what's nuts is in all seriousness, that's what it was for those people. It was an act of purification, and I love stories like that because they totally shake up our culture's idea of what purity is. And I'm not saying that we should do what the ancient Romans did. I'm not sure that bloody goat skin is going to hit the same as it did 2,000 years ago. It's probably not my thing, but to each their own. But I still think there's wisdom here. I still think there's wisdom because I see these Lupercalian weird freaks doing something that is still in touch with these themes of letting go, only instead of trying to restrict their bodies or restrict their desires, they're kind of doing the opposite. They're becoming pure from social norms. They're becoming pure from external expectations of who they should be. They're becoming pure of whatever is getting in the way of that wild, feral animal self that's in all of us. It's that kind of feral spirituality that's actually at the center of the Lenten tradition. I want to remind you that Lent is commemorating Jesus' 40-day journey through the wilderness, the literal, actual wilderness. And I want to set the record straight that in spite of any weird white Jesus art you've seen, there's no way he spent 40 days out there coming back in a white robe with a shining face. That's definitely not what it looked like. No, and if you read the Gospels, that's not the story either. We learn the story of a man who hungers, who struggles, who gets intimate with what it means to be human, and then gets intimate with what it means to be in touch with this wild, feral self. This wildness is all over ancient tradition, too. The ancient Celtic Christians referred to the Holy Spirit not as a white dove, not as some otherworldly being, but as an God Glas, which means the wild goose. Oh, and I love that. I love that so much. To them, the Spirit was not some white, purified thing that exists off in the distance. The Spirit was right here, right now. It was wild. It was deeply in touch with the earth. It was winged. It was honking. That's what the Spirit was for these people. And I'm so drawn to that image of Angad Glas, the wild goose, as a representation of divinity for this time of year, because at least some of our populations of geese are migratory, and we begin Lent with them still far away, still in their winter homes. We spend this season trying to fit into their animal wisdom, trying to strip back what's getting in the way of our primal self, our purest self, our truest self. And in 40 days' time, we're still doing it. We're trying to fit into it, maybe doing what has been communicated through the words of the prophet Mary Oliver, to let our body love what it loves. And in 40 days' time, they come back to us, descend from the heavens, and they call to us, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing our place in the family of things. This is what I mean when I say purity, y'all. I mean purity as in getting in touch with who you are exactly. Purity as in getting out of touch with who you should be. Purity as in becoming pure from external expectations of who you are or who you need to be. Purity as in living in the truth that our tradition teaches us, the truth that resides at the core of each of our beings, that we are whole and worthy and loved. So I'll invite you to consider what's getting in the way of that truest self. What do you need to let go of to remember your worthiness or your wholeness, your interconnectedness? What needs to fall us away for your purest self to emerge? Right in the sermon, I kept having this voice coming into my head that was how Lent was explained to me as a child. It was explained in really simple yet powerful terms. Give something up that forces you to get closer to God. And I know by using that language, I'm starting to lose some of you. So I'll say it again, using some of those equally imperfect words that we have sitting just outside of the sanctuary. Give something up that brings you closer to justice. Give something up that brings you closer to hope, closer to freedom, closer to love, closer to life itself. You could easily mistake Lent as this purely personal thing related to self-improvement, but I really think that couldn't be further from the truth. Not if we understand what's at stake when we give things away. Whenever we let go of any part of the story of separation, we're sunk back into our interconnectedness. This act of letting go allows us to get intimate with loss. We get to know those feelings of loss, and then we get to know we can endure them. Our fears stop leading us. We can step into that feeling of empowerment that comes from overcoming what may have previously felt insurmountable. We might be able to recognize just how much of our life we have agency over, how false notions of scarcity are just that, false. And it's through that intimacy that our relationship with loss can start to be transformed. We can start at losses to come in a new light, not through the lens of what do I have to lose, but rather, what do I have to gain? And it's people who look at the world that way that are the reason that we get to be here today. I think of our forebears. I think of the hundreds of Unitarian Universalist ministers who answered Dr. King's call to Selma. Every single person who was marching had a lot to lose. As we are reminded by the deaths of some of our forebears like James Reeb and our own church member Viola Liozzo, too many people had to lose everything. But that did not stop people from marching for liberation, not led by the fear of what they have to lose, but by the faith in what they have to gain. And I think of Minneapolis. I think of that city that's witnessed the murders of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And I think of how that did not get the resistance to back down, how thousands of people signed up for trainings to do exactly what Alex Preddy did moments before he was shot. And I think of our neighbors right now doing patrols to monitor ICE's activity. I talk to them and they tell me that they receive harassment and death threats nearly daily, but that does not stop them from showing up, not led by the fear of what they have to lose, but the knowledge and the faith in what we have to gain. This is what I mean when I say purity. I mean your truest self showing up in the world. The core of yourself, the part of you that aches for freedom, justice, liberation, being brave enough to act. And I want a Lent that brings me closer to that kind of purity. I'm going to be honest with y'all, I don't feel ready. Frankly, I'm scared. Frankly, I feel incapable. Frankly, I constantly feel like I'm not doing enough. Frankly, I am trapped by scarcity and shame. What I love about Lent is that it starts to ask me a different question to get out of it. Lent says, yes, you are afraid. Yes, you do feel incapable. Yes, you may not be the formidable opponent to capitalism and fascism that you hope to be. That is true. So what's getting in the way? Lent says, Instead of, you need to do more, 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 Lent says, what can we let go of to make this possible? And so I'll invite you to join me one more time. What do you have to lose? What do you need to give up that might topple your fears? What can you let go of that proves just how capable you are of enduring loss? What can you give up for the collective that might benefit us all, that might build a better future? And friends, all these questions are going to start to get a little bit more literal. It's going to start to get a little bit more material. So there's activity time coming. If you look under your chairs, there's pens. And if you look in your hymnals, they might be the gray ones, they might be the teal ones, you'll see little slips of paper. And there's a lot of them around, so check with a neighbor. Somebody might have multiple slips, someone might have multiple pens. If you checked with your neighbor and you still don't have one, raise your hand and we'll get some pens and paper to you. I want you to take your time here. Really consider, I just gave you like 15 different prompts. That's like 15 different Lents. But really, whatever it is you need to put down, because I believe that our individual sacrifices do have the potential to send ripples that can change the world. And so I want you to consider, what is it that you need to let go of in this moment? If you're on Zoom, you're welcome to write anything that you're seeking to let go of into the chat. We'll have folks write them down on slips of paper. And I want to be clear, anything you write down is not going to be read by anyone. We're going to bring them up to this chalice in the front here. And in the collective witness of our community, we're going to light them, we're going to burn them, we're going to watch our burdens dissipate and be transmuted into something else. So take your time. Consider, what is it that you need to let go of in this moment? We'll be collecting them in these baskets. today, we offer our burdens. In the witness of our community, in the witness of the divine, we offer that which we are seeking to no longer carry. May all that we are letting go of be transmuted and transformed. May this offering bring us a greater sense of agency and empowerment in our lives. May this offering free us from separation and division, bring us closer to the truth of ourselves. May this offering bring us peace, bring us healing, bring us justice, that we too may be of service in this time and place. May we be lighter, may we be looser, and may we know that we never face our perils alone.
Will you sing with me? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Oh, loosen, loosen, baby.
And
You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones.
Will you
Let
ease
go,
this
let go.
pain?
Oh, loosen, loosen, baby.
And
You don't have to
holiness,
carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones.
will
Let
you
go,
ease
let go,
this?
let go.
Will you ease this pain?
Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
Folks, I'll invite you to do whatever's comfortable, but we invite folks to rise in body or spirit in this moment. All this pain that we're seeking to let go of, all these things that we are trying to endure become more endurable together. And so I'll invite you to turn to each other If you feel like reaching out and holding hands, I invite you to do so. If not, maybe a reverent gesture, a hand over the heart. Truly witness everyone who is in this room, everyone who is here to carry your burdens alongside you. In the witness of each other, we will sing. We are whole.
Please repeat after me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope.
The warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
We are whole. Folks, this is always the part of the service that usually gets me tearing up, and I'll probably cry after this, but right now I have to be a leader or whatever. And I want to bring that forward because witnessing each other truly is, I think, what the future looks like, what freedom looks like, what salvation looks like. It is the presence of God. And in witnessing each other and witnessing each other's burden and witnessing each other's pain, we can make it possible to endure. We can make it possible to do risks. We can make it possible to build this future that we talk about every single week. It's true that we are whole. It's true that we are whole because we bind each other's wounds back together again. With all of that, I'll invite us to sing. We are whole. We are holy. We are holy. May we be lighter, may we be looser, may we go in peace and return in love. May we bear witness to each other today and every day. Be well and amen.
Amen.